All right, we're at a point here where we're going to walk away for today. For the most part, it's the end of the day. The other part of the situation is that this stuff is still sticky, and the thing about urethane, we'll go through how much we relied on it today, but if you get it on you, you got to wipe it right off with acetone immediately while it's still sticky. If it sets up and cures on you, it'll just have the black dirt stuck, to your skin for a couple of days. That really doesn't, it's indelible. It's a thermosetting polymer, and it just can't be dissolved. And so I'll have the mark of the beast on me for a couple of days. But we were able to, like we said before, establish where this faux rim joist rim board goes, stick him to the plumb face of our beam that we managed to slice a little bit off of, in a length that was just exactly what we need on the outside of our pair of jacks and our king, given our rough opening. So if we were to put, that's 93. And so if we have a 93-inch long strip of new subfloor that's level here, that's the width of the finished wall, we can set our new door on that. We ran into our problem with the level of the floor inside. We picked an elevation that will allow me to, worst case scenario, after I've got the subfloor on, I framed the opening, and I'm trying to set in the door, and it's not low enough. I could go lower. I wish I had gone lower. I can slice the subfloor out from between the framing, zip out screws, which will be how I put it into this lumber, and replace it with 5/8. And even if I want to go lower, I'll go to 1/2 of an inch. It'll be a plywood rather than an OSB in that case, just to have a little bit better quality given the thinner material. But again, our span, not again, but for the first time today, our span in that case is like 2 inches, so who cares that it's that thin. But really, what we would like to find out is that we could go up a little, and I could put a 1/4 inch, of nice quality plywood. What's the word? Birch ply or something, like a 5 or 6 layer 1/4 inch true on it, and then install the door and just be where I want to be. It's nice to be additive. That being said, this was a whole piece. I'll find out what I want for a dimension here and mark it, down there and mark it, and snap a line and slice it off so that the bottom edge of it is kind of jiving with what I have for a bottom edge of the finished outside of the building overall. On the bottom, the top is right where I want to be. The back is a 2x4 that I hung out my square and took a measurement down at this end and the other end, marked those on it, snapped a chalk line, and took this little taper off of it. That looks like perspective doing that, but it's actually a little tapered rip. And then that cut, I end up setting my circular saw. I could have done this together, but I wasn't sure what I wanted. I end up setting it at about 10 degrees and taking 10 degrees off because, of course, we're trying to sit that cut end on the top of this beam, and that beam's doing a downhill, because it was square, but remember we took the face off at that angle, so that's the same angle the top is doing. So I put that on, and then it would sit down pretty nice here. Overall, though, it's a little bit higher. There's the surface. It's hard to see again with the parallax. It's a little bit higher. It's 1/8 of an inch or so higher than the front all the way across, because I wanted to have more and take it away. I wanted to be sure of that. I mean, I snapped I made 2 dimensions and snapped a straight chalk line. Who's to say the top of this is straight? So I just was a little bit heavy with it. Okay, and then I knew I had long enough construction screws here. I had 4.5s, or maybe these are 5s, and I sunk them in maybe 1/2 of an inch, which otherwise would be not a very good idea, but this will be good doing it that way. I'll tell you why. Now I know what I've got for engagement, but before I screwed them down every 12 inches or so, I relied on another urethane product. So today we used the Great Stuff foam, and then we backfilled the big cavity in the beam with this urethane resin. And now, we ended up with the PL premium adhesive on the bottom, 2 fat beads on the bottom of this piece, and screwed in the screws more to hold it in while that adhesive sets. And then tomorrow we'll float in here and we'll take off that little bit that we need based on this plane. We'll cut off that plane. And then, obviously we'll shave the foam down. We'll slap our OSB subfloor onto it. And then, like you wouldn't believe, we'll just blow right through framing this rough opening, and then we'll be talking about getting Don over here to help us set that giant door in here, or like I said, find out we got to go up or down a little. I'd like to think we could go up. Actually, I'd like to think that it's perfect just the way that it is. I spent some time with CAD this morning just double checking my work and double checking the cut sheet for the door, so wish us luck. Anyway, my batteries run out, and I don't know